The last time I went this far out on a limb in terms of topic on this podcast was my conversation with gardener Andi Strachan. But there's something about the interactions between human cultures and the natural environment that I find fascinating. And there's also a thread related not just to vulnerabilities of agrobiodiversity and food sovereignty, but also how our individual lives are entwined with the food that sustains, nourishes, and can hurt us and our environment. Carolina Modena is director of the Biodiversity Office at Slow Food, which is an organization headquartered in Bra, Italy, representing a global movement of local groups and activists devoted to ensuring everyone has access to good, clean, and fair food. From a background in law and gastronomic sciences, she's committed to protecting food culture against the twin forces of globalization and standardization. And just to set the context for this conversation, I wanted to take a moment to read Slow Food's manifesto. Born and nurtured under the side of industrialization, this century first invented the machine, then modeled its lifestyle after it. Speed became our shackles. We fell prey to the same virus, the fast life, that fractures our customs and assails us even in our own homes, forcing us to ingest fast food. Homo sapiens must regain wisdom and liberate itself from the velocity that is propelling it on the road to extinction. Let us defend ourselves against the universal madness of the fast life with tranquil material pleasure. Against those, or rather the vast majority, who confuse efficiency with frenzy, we propose the vaccine of an adequate portion of sensual gourmandise pleasures to be taken with slow and prolonged enjoyment. Appropriately, we will start in the kitchen with slow food. To escape the tediousness of fast food, let us rediscover the rich varieties and aromas of local cuisines. In the name of productivity, the fast life has changed our lifestyle and now threatens our environment and our land and cityscapes. Slow food is the alternative, the avant-garde's riposte. Real culture is here to be found. First of all, we can begin by cultivating taste, rather than impoverishing it, by stimulating progress, by encouraging international exchange programs, by endorsing worthwhile projects, by advocating historical food culture, and by defending old-fashioned food traditions. Slow food assures us of a better quality lifestyle. With a snail purposely chosen as its patron and symbol, it is an idea and a way of life that needs much sure but steady support. And here's my conversation with Carolina. I'm so grateful because I took a little bit of a chance reaching out to your organization. There was something about what it is that you do, what your mission is at Slow Food that just really interested me. And so I was happy that the questions resonated and that you were willing to talk to me. I think that's great.
Yeah, great.
So maybe talk to me a little bit about the mission at Slow Food, what it is that you accomplish through your organization.
So Slow Food, the focus mission is provide good, clean, and fair food for all. So this is our motto, and we achieve and trying to achieve this broad scope through three main priorities that, of course, are interlinked together. The first one is the safeguards and promotion of agrobiodiversity. So when we talk about biodiversity, it's important to highlight that we intend biological and cultural diversity, which is connected to food production. And that we are talking about agricultural products, that we are talking about food products and not wild animals or wild flora and fauna. The second priority is to inspire and educate citizens. So we work with on one side on campaigns to raise awareness. Our events are very important moments where to raise awareness, where to connect with people and try to pass messages linked to the need of protect and promote our agrobiodiversity. The third priority it's linked to the advocacy work that we do. So to influence private and public sector. All our groups around the world are, of course, involved in some kind of advocacy activity, whether with the local governments, so municipalities, province, and so on, but also at national level.
Why did an organization like that start in Italy?
Specifically in Bra, where I'm located at the moment, so where we still have our headquarters, which is a bit curious because it's a small town and it's 1 hour from Turin, which is for sure a lot bigger, and we have to commute. Many of us have to commute, but it started. It started in Italy, really as a group of imagining a group of friends that started to realize and that the globalization and the standardization was really affecting the food culture of this region, and that was difficult, more and more difficult to have local products, to have farmers in the area, and so on. And so, starting a bit as a counter reaction of the fast food, the spreading of the fast food, this association started against this. Specifically, there was a moment where there was the opening of the first McDonald's in Rome. That a bit was the ignition moment for the entire movement. But so this is how it started, and this is why it started here, to really try to protect the agrobiodiversity of the area. But at the same time, it never wanted to be something closed in this area. It was not a nationalistic view. It wasn't to protect what we have in our territory and protect it from the outer world, but it was more to think that we are a community that is suffering here, and many others are around the world that have been affected in the same way. So since the very beginning, the intention was to really be open to the world and try to unite and to network with other communities that were maybe in the same battle at the time or not yet. But the idea was never to have like a protectionist kind of approach. And so this is why in 1989 the association became international. So it was in a very 4 or 5 years that it started as very small in Italy, and then it spread, decided to be international. And so also our events started to be international.
Okay, I find that really interesting coming from, I live in Montreal, so it's a place that works very hard to protect its local culture and its language, French, in a kind of a sea of English in North America. But the push and pull of that, so how much you try to legislate or sort of force people to do certain kinds of things in the name of protecting a culture, versus how much can you sort of attract people to wanting to do things that promote the culture is challenging, right? So your organization is very much, I think, about encouraging. It's attracting people through the various programs. So I'm curious to know what drew you to working at Slow Food.
I started to work here 8 years ago, right after I finished a master course at the University of Gastronomic Sciences here in Pollenzo, which is another very small small town, even smaller than Bra. And it's the University of Gastronomic Sciences has been founded by Slow Food because of recognizing the importance of creating also like inspiring new generations of gastronom. So people that understand what I shared before. So at the very beginning, the importance of promoting the agrobiodiversity of a territory in order to really educate and provide knowledge that make people able to see their territories and their food culture in a different way, because sometimes it's also difficult to understand what does it mean local, what does it mean uh, what does it mean good, clean, and fair, right? So the importance of also of this university was really to try to give this view to as many people as possible, as many young students as possible. I have a background in law, so I graduated in law at the University of Turin. And my final dissertation was on the right to food and how to use legal tools to counteract food insecurity, to counteract resource appropriations, and so on, and how also food insecurity is so much connected nowadays to climate change. So this was a bit kind of a new approach for my university to delve on that topic, but it was really interesting for me. And I started to learn more and more about how much we are connected to food production, how much our lives and the environment is connected to food. And so I decided to do then this master on food culture and communication at this university. And after 8 years now, I am the director of the biodiversity team. So we have here at the headquarters, we are divided in the offices that work more on the relationship and on the networking with the local groups. So to support them in this way, while the biodiversity, education and advocacy offices are more related on tools, content to provide to the network.
That's so interesting. I have two questions, but just like a quick, question comment. I remember a long time ago, I read a book called The Culture of Work by Alain de Botton. And one of the things that he did was follow a fisherman, a fisher person, because he said, well, so we go buy tuna in the grocery store and it comes on a styrofoam wrapped in plastic. At least here it does. And it's kind of ridiculous, but I don't ever think about where that came from. It's just in the grocery store and it comes as a slice of something and I go and I buy it like that. And so he went and marked every step it took to get that fish into the store. For me, at least in North America, I was like, oh, right. People go out in boats and they catch the things. And then it looks like they took lots of pictures. It looks like this. And then they process the fish and it looks like that. And it's the furthest thing from probably a natural, biodiverse approach to getting our food. So anyway, just a random story about that. But what is the particular mission of the Biodiversity Office?
So one of the first, let's say, mission of the entire movement, and now also it's a part of our work, was to catalog all these food that were at risk of extinction. So thinking of in a period of, okay, we are surrounded by industrial products. We only buy food at the people only buy food at the supermarket. We are losing the connection with the production. We are losing the production with the culture of food. So the first reaction was really, okay, let's start to catalog everything, because it could disappear very, very soon. And so the first program to preserve biodiversity, the Arc of Days, started. So this was really the origin as first reaction of the association. But then, of course, catalog was not enough. You need to support the producers. You need to provide them with platform for exchanging with consumers, with cooks, with other stakeholders in the food environment. So all these methodologies, all these programs have been shaped along the years, trying to meet the need of the movement while it was growing and growing. So going farther than just catalog varieties, breeds, artisanal products in risk of extinction, and try to support who was producing them, try to support who was taking care of the territories, and so on. So our mission as office is really to provide support to the local groups that are involved in this effort, and of course connecting them together, connecting them with cooks, connecting them with food activists that can support their work. So the Arc of Taste was the first attempt to catalog. Today there are more than 6,000 products on the Arc. That could be vegetable varieties, breeds, and artisanal products. But then other programs came out. So the Brasilia program is supporting, for example, the community of producers that commit to that specific variety, to that specific product, in order to give them visibility, in order to give them also agronomic support. And so it started a bit like this. Then we started engaging more and more cooks. And so the Cooks Alliance, the Slow Food Cooks Alliance started to really engage cooks that were already were already committed to preserve and safeguard agrobiodiversity, or to engage new ones that maybe were not so familiar with the discussion. We started with the food earth markets, so with physical markets that can provide a selling platform for these products. And that goes also a bit beyond this, because to create the relationship between farmer and consumers is extremely important to understand how our food is cultivated, and that doesn't come right away from the nature in a plastic wrapped in a plastic. Recently, in the in September last year, during our event, main international event, Terra Madre Salone del Gusto, we launched our latest program, which is called Slow Food Farm. Along the years, our local groups were saying, but we need to involve farmers' entire production. So we need to give visibility to agroecological producers as people that are implementing, not only that are producing a product that are important and so on, but that they are maintaining the fertility of the soil, that they manage resources in a certain way, that they really take out all the chemical inputs and so on. So to give visibility to the entire production and not only to a product per se, we launched this new program called Slow Food Farms. And we are now in the finishing of the first phase of the program. So the learning phase, we want to understand how in the different areas this program could be implemented. And we are going to open up the possibility to subscribe and to send nomination to become a Slow Food Farm very soon. So now it's in the website, you could find many information about the program and where the first Slow Food Farms are around the world. But considering it at this point, it's more internal as a program, and we will open up in starting from after the summer.
So just sort of like a more specific question. So for somebody like me who buys their tuna on a styrofoam wrapped in plastic, right? Just think about where it came from. And then when I think about biodiversity and your work with farmers, how do you also help educate people to understand, like here in Montreal anyway, we have I know we have lots of different apples. We have 7 or 8 different varieties of apples. I see them in the grocery store. We're big on apples. But for me, there's carrots. One carrot that I'll see in the store, I buy a carrot, maybe a couple of different kinds of pears, but or chicken. I just think about, I buy chicken. I don't buy
that type of chicken.
that kind of chicken, or that sort of has disappeared from my vocabulary. Even I can't even name what the kinds of chickens are that might be natural to, at least to here. How do you help educate people to recognize the massive diversity of species of animals and plants, for those who eat animals and plants, that are part of our, that that could be part of our daily menus, but we don't even know what to call them. I don't have names anymore for all those different species. And I think that losing that ability to name the things contributes a lot to that lack of awareness of how much diversity there is in our food culture.
Yeah. And this is very complicated. We have founded a movement to try to do this.
Because I'm like your target person. I'm like, I eat chicken.
Yeah, no, of course. So unfortunately, there's no silver bullet solution to this. And this is why also along the years, the slow food has started to work not only on arc of taste, on preserving it, but also more on education, on campaigns, on raising awareness, on advocacy, because the food system is complex. So there's no easy solution to reconnect to it. But with all these different, let's say, activities all together, we usually engage and manage to engage with a lot of people that start to understand this, start to ask questions about their food, which is one of the main part, because as you said, we don't have the vocabulary, we don't have the information. It's really difficult also to understand where to find them and so on. But even just starting like chatting with a farmer in a farmer market, of course, or going to visit a farm could really, like, it really helps, like building this type of relationship with people that actually are cultivating the food, really could really give a very first introduction to this. And what I must say that I think slow food also does very well is that all this is surrounded by joy, by sharing food. So this positive, let's say, positivity that some maybe misinterpret, let's say, as being naive or trying to reduce a very high and political situation and issues, also sometimes to gather around the table. This is what actually also attracted me. It's not, doesn't have to be us like trying in, like only like suffering and trying to pass a message, but it can also, like, a political discussion can happen around the table, must happen also there, because it's there where you started to also understand the importance of that different varieties that now I don't know the name, but you that are at the same table can tell me what's the name of this product that you know better than me, and what are the challenges that are behind it. And so to make me understand that in a conversation. And I think this is really unique as approach.
That it does fit my vision of Italy too, right? Around the table and they're passing the pasta.
Yeah.
The whole.
But actually, it's impressive how it's something that it's all around the world. Indeed, we have this strong culture, and like also I think that it was a fertile probably area to start with. We are lucky in a way, and I think also slow food has done a lot on this. But the magic of Terra Madre, the magic when you go around the world to visit other slow food communities, is that you find the same exact thing. They really want to show you their culture through food, and it's something that really you can find in many places.
I can sort of see vulnerability applying in many different ways to the work that you do. Maybe food insecurity would be one of the bigger ones. Would you talk just a little bit about what food insecurity means from your perspective?
Yeah, we tend to talk more about less about food insecurity, let's say, but more about food sovereignty. For sure, we cannot say that there are no people that suffer by food insecurity that are can be in what we call developed country, but in marginalized communities and in another part of the world. But the real problem is, like, if we talk about food insecurity, it's a bit narrow what we see, and it's really about malnutrition and scarcity of food, which is of course an issue, which is of need to be put attention on. But why? So the food sovereignty concept, it's really related to the right of the communities to cultivate their own food, to choose what food to eat, and to have the resources to do so, because to have the land, to have the access to water, and all this that in many cases cannot be the case. But if there is this context, in context where there is sovereignty, you don't have food insecurity, because even in the most remote area, even in the most difficult condition, human beings were able to find strategies to cultivate their own food, to provide their own resources. But when other solution coming from other parts of the world where the interests are not related to provide food to the local communities, but to produce commodities that needs to travel all over the world, then you really disrupt that delicate environment, and so you create food insecurity. But we see that where the possibility of creating their proper food environments it's allowed, you don't have food insecurity. So I believe it's important also to think in this broader way when we talk about vulnerabilities.
You can learn more about the mission and activities of the Slow Food organization and ways to get involved on their website at slowfood.com and on Instagram at slowfood_international. And if you're interested in learning more about the foods unique to your own area, be sure to check out their Arc of Taste project. I have discovered that here in Quebec, we raise Chanticleer chickens, which are a composite breed of dark Cornish, white Leghorn, Rhode Island Red, white Wyandotte, Colombian Wyandotte, and white Plymouth Rock chickens.